it is part 3 of this truck. We got a lot to do, so let's just jump into it. So today we're going to be redoing basically the steering on this truck, and then also we'll do the ball joints. Pretty simple. Now there's two ways to get tie rods, and later I found out ball joints out of their respective homes. The first one, which I did on this tie rod, you can just put the nut back on there so where it's flush with the top of the actual bolt, and then just give it a good whack with a big ol' hammer. The second option is to use a pickle fork. You basically just put it in there and then go to town with a hammer, and it will separate the tie rod from the center link, or the ball joint from the spindle, or whatever have you. Now I'm going to pop off the pitman arm. I'm going to need a pitman arm puller. So I ran to Harbor Freight real quick and got me a pitman arm puller, because this thing was not coming off. So it's as easy as just slipping it on there and tightening it down until your pitman arm just comes right off. Perfect. And like that, we have our pitman arm off. Now, I might as well change the little, that little rubber disc in there between the steering box and the steering column, because it was $20, it's cheap, it's good insurance. I think I'm going to pop this steering box off and clean it up and paint it black, except for the top cover, obviously. So let's do that. Now, I need to remove the control arm because I intend on replacing the bushings on this thing. Now, I was not as intelligent as I should have been, and I removed the control arm before I loosened up the little side bolts or nuts. The thing is that that's reversible. I can literally just pop it back onto the truck, kind of finger tighten the bolts, and then, you know, loosen those nuts pretty easily. It wasn't happening when it was off the truck. So, back on the truck it went, and now we have us a nice loose shaft, and we can kind of go to town doing the ball joint. So, these are riveted. I'm going to have to grind them off and drill them and cut them and all kinds of stuff. I'm just going to get on that and show you when it's done. Now, while I have the spindles out, I might as well just make them look pretty, right? So I spent some time wire brushing these. And made them look fairly clean. There were some spaces I couldn't really get into with the wire brush, so I kind of blasted it with the brake cleaner. Worked a treat. And now we're ready to paint it. So I'm going to tape off the actual spindle, because you don't want to get paint on something like that that you're going to have to, you know, put grease and stuff on to contaminate the grease and all that icky stuff. So I'm going to tape that up. We've taken the brake dust shield off. Kind of like clean that up. And it's already been painted, and I have the bolts exactly where they need to be still. So let's get cracking on this spindle. I'll also take this opportunity to clean up my center link because it's a little dirty in this area. Obviously it's going to be greasy still. That doesn't matter because we're just going to clean it up and grease it back up. It's gross, but it's going to be hidden, and the only reason it's there is to stop the noise. Just like that. Now, the lower ball joints are considerably more of a pain in the you-know-what than the upper ones, because there's no bolts involved, it literally presses in. I was going to show you how I got the ball joint out of the lower control arm, and I didn't expect it to work, but I yeeted that ball joint out of the control arm, no issue with a hammer, 2-pound hammer I think, with a couple of really vigorous blows, and it just went phew. Okay, so we've got our ball joint thing here. We have the press, which is upside down. We have our ball joint. And the little piece here. The sleeve, and then the upper piece. And you can see that the ball joint can just fall through there. Or press up through there. I'm going to put you at a safe distance away from this in case something happens. How's that look? Yeah, man, we're done. Let's see if I can get a video of that on my phone real quick. I don't know why I was so not wanting to do this. This is easy. Now we just go the other way until we're loose enough to take this thing off. A lot of ball joint left. Holy shit. Alright. There's some gunk in there. We're going to clean that out and then replenish it. Same story as always. It's kind of dumb how they did this, where you literally have to go into the frame to like disconnect the brake hose. But I don't have an engine in this thing, so it's easier now. Whatever. Calipers off. And I would recommend getting yourself some vice grips to do this, because your 3/8 inch wrench is not going to work. It is just not going to work. You're going to strip the thing. I already tried, already kind of stripped one side of it. Just use some vice grips or something like that. And now we can just assemble everything back together. Let's pop this steering box back on it with our new coupler. Alright, we're going to get this steering box in here. Whoa. Okay. Well, this has a spacer on it too. Don't know why, but it does. Okay, we're in. Got our idler arm and the bracket for the idler arm. I'm just going to pop that together real quick. Not going to tighten it down. Just going to get it real loose so that I can, you know, play with it a little bit while it's in the truck, and we'll tighten it down once it's in the truck. Attempt number 1, going under the truck to put this thing on. Yeah. That's fine. I believe this is a 1/2 inch and 9/16 combo. This is a 6.5 turn box, so we're gonna go 3 1/4 turns from the lock. So let's say 1, 2, I'm watching that flat spot, 3 1/4, and that should be perfect. Got our new pitman arm. We have our box adjusted to where it needs to be. You'll notice, I'll show you this later, but there's little like splines that are missing on the steering box. That's what we want. We want these to line up with those. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. That's probably just going to keep doing that, so. I hope I'm going the right way. Alright. There's a flat spot on this thing. It goes in there like that. The flat spot I think is like here-ish. Okay, we've got it roughly where we want it. This goes on this side, theoretically. Okay. Okay. Well, I can't find my other 1/2 inch, but I have a 13. And that's kind of the same, right? Just kind of start these guys so as they don't fall out like this one's about to do. Oh, you're going too far, buddy. Alright, we're good. Now I need to find a 7/16 to do this. Bolt here, but we'll get to that later. There we go. I think we've made a mistake, boys. There we go. Oh shit, I need the other nut. Okay, well, a little further. Alright, I'm going to be honest, this is taking way too long, and I still have to do the other side, the passenger side of this thing. So, I'm going to take a shortcut. We're not going to do the control arm bushings and ball joints. I bought these for the Suburban. They are brand new control arms. They come with the bushings and the ball joints and this weird bolt that I don't know what it's for. But yeah, I'm going to use those instead and just order more for the Suburban. Decided to use the ones that I bought for the Suburban on this because I'm not about to do all that BS. Remember, there's 6 per side. 3 of them wouldn't come off per side, so I need to add 3 on each side. So we'll quickly do that. Still watching? Yeah. Annoying if the steering box wasn't in the way, or the steering shaft. This is where it gets tricky. I've been jacking this thing up. Still don't know if it's enough. But if we can get this thing started... Please. Then we're good. Where's my little adjustable? Well, we don't have a little one. Let's go find it. That's tightening it. I'm going to pop the tie rod into the center link first so that I can freely turn the spindle to where it needs to go and it's less weight to deal with. Let's do that. Now, if you watch the Suburban video, you already know how to do the bearings and the wheel seals. I just hit them in with a little plastic dead blow hammer for the wheel seal. Obviously, you put in the inner bearing first and make sure it's all lubed up with grease and everything. Then you put your wheel seal in and you can kind of pack everything and all that. I found it's easiest just to do that and then put your rotor onto the spindle and then put your outer bearing on, and then put your washer and your nut and everything like that. Because if you have everything together, it's kind of like it's going to knock your inner bearing into the dirt and you'll have to clean it, and it's just a nightmare. So save that for later. Make sure everything's packed though. Pack that rotor pretty well. I needed to clean this one out because it's very old and the grease was really gross. Yeah, there we go. Reasonable amount of... Perfect, now we clean up that dust cap. Anyway, I think we're going to stop here. I could do the other side, but that's a whole ordeal, and it's the same thing as the other side. I've already showed you the idler arm bracket and everything, so I'm going to do that off camera. Now, I'm not going to put the caliper on there because I think that's going to be another video, because I'm going to order new calipers and new pads. And we're going to call it quits there, because this video has been too long as it is. So, as usual, you be good while I'm gone, and I'll see you next time. Have a good week.